Time for an oil change? Head to Jiffy Lube. We've got you covered. We've also got you covered when it comes to oil changes, thanks to Pennzoil Synthetic Motor Oil, getting you back on the road in a jiffy. Jiffy Lube. Leave worry behind.
Hello and welcome to this totally highly questionable thing. Izzy Gutierrez dressed differently than yesterday today. What do you like on the show today, Iz?
For the rest of this NBA season, whenever LeBron's shooting big free throws, I want to go live to footage of this man watching the shoot.
Doing this voodoo stuff. Dale, Papi.
How do you feel listening to Derrick Rose talk after his 50-point explosion?
An explosion. My father hit that with emphasis. My father has been making jokes about Derrick Rose for 7 years. Izzy Gutierrez is a basketball expert. I am sure that he did not think that Derrick Rose had another 50-point game in him the rest of his career. There's the off-court stuff that he has not been proven guilty of, but stuff, when you read the details and the accusations, is very uncomfortable. I don't know what to do with that story today as that civil trial goes to appeal, but the basketball story was a moving one from every angle. Basketball was moved last night by what this guy has gone through physically to get to that night, and to see him on the verge of tears when he's someone who rarely shows emotion, that is something that made many in the audience emotional because they know how much he has struggled to get that night last night.
Your career high 50 points. What does it mean to you, Derrick?
Everything, man. I work my off, bro. I wouldn't have did this for the franchise, the organization, the fans, everybody, man. I wouldn't be able to play the way I play, man.
There are a lot of comeback moments in sports. There are a lot of comeback stories in sports. They don't always come with that genuine a feel to them. And I think that's part of what Derrick Rose's appeal is to his teammates. You saw after that game, his teammates showered him with some sort of liquids in that locker room. You've seen with the Chicago Bulls teammates, Joakim Noah, them stand by Derrick Rose at all costs. There's a reason for that. Whether it's the passion that he shows when he plays, whether it's the love that he has for his teammates, or whether it's just the comeback attempt that he had. I've been around him trying to come back. You see those tiny flashes on occasion. You see that ability, but you'll never really see it come back in full, you thought, and you never really see a coach give him that type of ability, that type of opening to do so because his game is relatively inefficient in today's NBA. That moment might be his greatest comeback moment. It might be the best moment of his career when you actually think about it.
It's crazy to think about his story arc. There have been very few MVPs in the history of the league. He's only 30 years old, even though his body doesn't seem to look like it, who go from being the MVP to being an afterthought, a punchline, who then go to score the 50 points that he scored last night in what was the best scoring night of his career. It's a crazy thing to think about.
Well, he sent a message, to the Timberwolves. You don't need Jimmy anymore. You got me. You can do this night after night after night, so you can get rid of Jimmy. Now the heat is on Jimmy now. Jimmy, what are you going to do now? He made you look like a fool. You stay on the bench, and Derrick Rose came up and lit you up for 50 points. But now that's it. They don't need you anymore.
Derrick Rose should demand a trade.
That's right. Do you give Maryland credit for finally firing DJ Durkin?
This was crazy, right? Because none of us understood yesterday when talking about this story and the reinstatement why it is that Maryland would risk the public relations that come with keeping a 10-15 coach who has a death of a player on his resume, given that it would affect the recruiting. But this mismanagement, lack of leadership, lack of vision has been seen throughout in a way that is a bit galling when you consider that the highest people in authority at Maryland seem to know less about what the backlash was than all of us looking at our phones on the reports that players are walking out of the reinstatement. It really felt like we in the media knew more than the people in charge, that they were surprised by the reaction. Of all the galling things here, obviously at the top of the list is that someone died, but the idea that the administration would be this kind of out of touch is a bit crazy.
It took Wallace Lowe, the president of the university, 24 hours to reverse the recommendation by the board to keep DJ Durkin. And within that 24 hours, the rest of us were so thoroughly confused. And I understand him waiting even 24 hours there, because I'd be looking at that report saying, what am I missing here? Why do these regions think that we should keep this coach? There was a death of a player that ultimately he should be responsible for. It's the worst possible outcome for any student athlete to go to this school. This coach failed in his responsibilities. And in waiting in those 24 hours, Wallace Lowe essentially got the confirmation from the rest of us that said, yes, you should let this guy go. And it's not an examination of his character. It's an examination of the job he did, and he did it poorly enough to lose his job, period.
That Maryland would take 24 hours to realize that the choice they had made symbolically was the $5.5 million on a contract for a coach and not the body and life of one of its athletes should tell you a little bit about the injustice that's lopsided in the way that people treat money in that sport, business in that sport, and then the bodies that make that money.
Did the end of last night's game prove or disprove that late night game free throws are a big problem for LeBron?
Oh, this guy, he takes naps before these late games so he could stay up and hate LeBron late at night. And last night in this situation against the Dallas Mavericks, the Mavericks are not very good. The Lakers are at home. The game is tied. 2 seconds left. That's not a pressure free throw right there, but this one is. And he makes this one. And mathematically, you've seen that he is not great in these situations because he has time to sit at the line and think about the fact that I am a 73% shooter on free throws. And furthermore, I am bad in these situations last 15 seconds of game. That doesn't prove much of anything there.
As much as I want to make this man happy and trash LeBron and say that the pressure of LA is too much for him, he's gone through his free throw shooting woes before. He's gone through stretches like this. The reason we are examining it the way that we are is because he's on this Lakers team, is because these games are so close, and it's because we're trying to judge whether he can elevate this team. And whether or not he can hit free throws late is not going to be the deciding factor on whether he can elevate this team. This team does not look like a top 4 seed right now, and we're just going to look at LeBron James free throws because it's fun at the time.
This is not going to be a problem in the playoff. Are you kidding me? Because they're not going to make the playoff. Eat it, LeBron.
He might not be wrong.
I mean, okay, but this isn't the day to do that. He just made the...
Every day is the day for him to do that.
Do you think Aaron Rodgers actually believes that Tom Brady is the greatest QB ever?
There are some good games this weekend, and at the top of the schedule is Aaron Rodgers against Tom Brady, two of the best quarterbacks any of us have ever seen. And Aaron Rodgers said, when asked about the idea of the GOAT for all time, some people consider him the GOAT, but many more people consider Tom Brady the GOAT. And he said the end of the discussion is 5 championships, man. I've got 1, as many as Trent Dilfer, and he's got 5. Now, I think many of us believe what Ian O'Connor wrote about this week, that if Aaron Rodgers played in the system of Bill Belichick, he would throw for 7,000 yards, and he would have the 5 championships. But the way that we do the defining at that position is winning, so Aaron Rodgers is genuflecting until he can win a little more.
I think he's being a little bit of a Weisenheimer, a little bit of a smart aleck. It ends most discussions. Yeah, he's basically saying, really, rings, you're going to make rings the reason why he's better. He's just telling you what the layman's believe. But on the other side of that, if you are indeed saying Aaron Rodgers is not only the greatest quarterback ever, but is significantly physically a more talented quarterback than Tom Brady, I don't want to be Aaron Rodgers boasting that, because that also says you are the greatest waste of talent in the history of the NFL if you only get 1 ring. Oh, I didn't get to play with Belichick. Tom Brady says I would have been throwing for 7,000 yards every year and probably would have 10 rings by now, but I'm stuck in this organization that won't get any talent around me and only has 1 ring for me as a result. Man, that's going to make me more angry than proud.
It is such a great spot to be in if you're Brady, just sitting there saying, man, that dude is so much more talented than I am. He is so much more gifted. But I've got the 5 rings, right? I've got the 5 rings. Yeah, but he's so gifted.
Ring, ring, ring.
Nice.
Hello? Oh, Peyton. Peyton Manning.
Peyton.
Yes, what's going on, buddy?
I thought it was Sean Payton.
Oh, you think that they forget about somebody else? There is another QB that should be in that talk in consideration? Who would that be? Oh, you, Peyton Manning? All right, that's a good point. He think he should be in consideration. He's crazy.
again.
A little extra for you.
Not wrong.
Some remnants of laughter.
Coming up next on Highly Questionable.
The Mavs last night, and Lance Stephenson's got a fast break with LeBron here, and there it is. Is this a fun new sport?
That looked like so much fun.
It does look like fun.
It's a normal day. You're rushing out the door to get to work on time when suddenly, there it is, the dreaded service light. So what is it this time? Tire pressure, low coolant, time for an oil change? When it comes to service lights, head to Jiffy Lube. We've got you covered. Drive in today and make the switch to Pennzoil. Ask for Pennzoil Synthetics, getting you back on the road in a jiffy. Jiffy Lube, leave worry behind.
To play the game whose patient is wearing thin. Do you question?
What did he do now? You give us topics and events, we question them.
Didn't sound like patient. Sounded like a patient was wearing something thin.
Do you question what Lance Stevenson thought would happen here?
Man, I feel like I've asked that question to myself every day for the whole time that I've known who Lance Stevenson is. We check in with the Lakers and the Mavs last night, and Lance Stevenson's got a fast break with LeBron here, and there it is. Yeah! I mean...
that is not Dwayne Wade, my friends. That is Lance Stevenson throwing alley-oops.
All right, let's show the correct way to do this. He's referencing the greatest sports photograph in Miami history, Dwayne Wade throwing over his shoulder for a LeBron dunk. But let's look at this again here, because I'm just wondering if Lance Stevenson put this in a place where he thinks that LeBron James at 50 would have been, as opposed to LeBron James at the present age, which would be at the rim. Let's watch this again, though. I want you to focus particularly on Lance Stevenson's reaction at the end here, because let's see where we can spot if it's gone awry in his mind. LeBron, where were you?
Disappointed in LeBron. He gives LeBron the look like, wait a second, you're supposed to be 2 steps slower and apparently 10 feet higher.
You know, they won't have to worry about those kind of passes in the playoff because they won't make it to the playoff.
Ab workout for him today.
They did win last night. They won last night.
Do you question if Matt Patricia should be calling out this reporter?
All right, my father made him Latin. Golden Tate was traded from the Lions, and this is how Matt Patricia reacted to a question about that.
Why do you think this move makes your franchise better?
Well, you know, do me a favor, just kind of sit up and just like have a little respect for the process. Every day you come in and ask me questions, and you just kind of like, you know, give me this. But I mean, like, just be a little respectful. I'm asking just to be a little respectful in this whole process, okay? So ask me a question professionally, and I'll answer it for you.
Why do you feel like this move makes your franchise better?
All right. Well, I think, you know, what's important for us is when we evaluate, you know, everything that we do as a franchise.
I mean, that's your reaction too, right? I was also asking myself, really? The pencil behind the ear? Still with this, Patricia? Even when you're not on the sidelines, not using that pencil for anything? What happened?
He's got a box of Lunchables inside of his beard, and he's asking the reporter to be more professional? I mean, of all coaches, come on.
See, I wasn't going to make that joke as a fellow sloppy person in front of cameras all the time. But this is not exactly the coach to be talking about someone else's posture and sloppiness, given that among all the coaches, only Andy Reid and that menu he holds in front of his face during games looks like this guy.
Be honest. How do you think that reporter was sitting?
That's a great question.
How do you imagine he was sitting, right? I mean, what was it like? What do you think? Was it like this? You think it's like this? Hey, Patricia, why'd you trade Golden Tate, you idiot?
Do you question if $38 is worth it?
Boston sports fans are going nuts because the Red Sox are celebrating their championship. And this guy here is offered $38 for doing something that I don't think any desperation ever would cause you to want to do this for $38. What? Horse poop. That's horse poop.
Yeah. out of here. You're going to need a lot more for the medical bills that you're going to... Oh, my goodness.
I'm not.
I blame you, Philly. I think Philadelphia, as a city, is responsible for this. They started this last year after that Eagles championship. This is all their fault.
How do you know it tastes bad? You have never tried it. You don't know if it tastes bad.
You don't know if I've never tried it.
You have never tried it. You have never tried it, but I have tried. Isn't that bad? Throwing trash bag into a dumpster. Do you question if this is a fun new sport?
I hope they were airing that as my father asked the question that the producer said in his ear. Is this just people throwing trash bags into a dumpster? We do it every day, 4:30. Every day on ESPN, we throw trash bags into a dumpster for a half hour. Let's see what we've got here.
Try work.
Is this a fun new sport?
That looks like so much fun.
That does look like fun. Oh! Less fun. Decidedly less fun.
Less fun for the cameraman, but I bet that guy got a laugh out of it.
As an added bonus, I think if we slow that down, you can see that there is some good garbage juice right there thrown into the face of the cameraman.
I know someone who would enjoy holding that camera, buddy.
Who's that?
Oh, God. I looked directly at the screen.
Oh, come on, man.
Technology Truths, brought to you by Geico.
Technology Truths.
Truth. Teenagers can communicate entirely in emojis.
How was the birthday party? Pizza slice, kitten, soccer ball, pineapple?
Truth. It's so easy to switch and save on car insurance at Geico.com.
What are you talking about? Paperclip, shoulder shrug, high five, wizard hat? What?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Highly questionable. This broadcast from the Clevelander Hotel on beautiful South Beach, Miami. Time to play the game that ate so much candy last night. See or no?
I'm stealing it from people. You tell us what to watch on television tonight. We tell you if we're intrigued.
On Fox and the NFL Network, Thursday night football, Raiders and 49ers.
Ay, vete. Nobody wants to watch this. These people don't want to be playing this. Adam Schefter's tweet was that this is the worst records you will find combined in a primetime football game since 1970. This is Drek. Let's check in with John Gruden talking to Howie Long.
I got a cell phone just like you and everybody else. Right. And I get a lot of phone calls from people that are dying to come and play here. I'm just telling you, they're dying to play for the Raiders. Yeah. And to have salary cap space and to have a chance to talk to the people that you really want to wear the silver and black, the guys you really want to wear the silver and black and represent this team, that's exciting.
I mean, on their way to 1-15, that's what you got to say. How about you, Izzy? Are you intrigued?
No, not so much. The 49ers have a quarterback in C.J. Beathard who's having trouble gripping the football, which is important if you want to throw it. So they might go to somebody named Nick Mullins, all of which should make Colin Kaepernick laugh like this man does.
Oh, my God. Papi, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. Listen, I believe John Gruden, you know. I really believe that those peoples are dying, and that's the reason they want to play for Oakland. You know, they're pretty bad shape. You know?
Yes, he meant to say.
Hours left. You know
that's what he meant to say. There are a lot of dying people trying to play for the Raiders.
So confused.
On NBC Sports Pennsylvania, Clippers and 76ers.
Papi, who is your favorite player who's not a Miami Heat player?
Boban.
See how excited
Boban is my guy.
All right, he's very big. And this Kristen Chenoweth, she is a singer, she's an actress, she's not very big. She's 4'11", so let's check in with how that looks. Yeah, that's about what I thought that would look like.
Look at their hands.
Yeah. She looks like a keychain. A keychain hanging out of his pocket. I don't think that's the best photo of Boban I've ever seen. Can you put that one up with him and Stan Van Gundy? Like, Stan Van Gundy's not that small, and it looks like Boban is something fictional. You see what I'm talking about there? Look at that. Look how absurd that is. I told you it was a better photograph. Izzy, are you intrigued?
Dan, no. But Dan, that's clearly Photoshopped. There's no way that Gatorade bottle is that much smaller than Boban's. Okay, they clearly just shrink Stan Van Gundy's side. Big dummy.
What an interesting thing to learn on television. Papi, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. Listen, Boban, he looks huge on that photograph, but I have seen bigger.
Let's see.
Bigger what?
Oh, there it is.
Man.
That is an amazing photograph. It really is.
Not Photoshopped.
Wait a minute. If we're just going to do amazing photographs here, why don't you guys put up the rock between Shaq and Charles Barkley? This is Dwayne Johnson, biggest movie star in the world, physically very imposing. Look how ridiculous this is right here. Look how small he is.
Tonight on TNT, Bucks and Celtics.
Yes, you want to keep watching the evolution of the Greek Freak. He is getting better. They're using him a little bit differently, more creatively than they were before. But let's check in with the Celtics. Kyrie Irving found it the other night, and he scored 31 points. Yeah. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. That's absurd. Look at that. Let's do that again. This is one guy. That's a flopper. Oh, Drummond. And that right there. Yeah, everybody just this far away. They always are with him, it seems. Izzy, are you intrigued?
I am. Kyrie Irving's probably going to go on a roll here. He got himself into a little bit of better shape at the beginning of this season. He credits Tommy Heinsohn for that, for being critical of the shape he was in on a broadcast. That's entertaining.
Okay, but it's been a week that he's gotten into shape. Heinsohn did this a week ago. Now he's in shape. Papi, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. I wonder whether this guy's going to be at the game tonight.
Whoa.
There we go. Is he going to be at the game today? Picking up some stuff, too.
That's it. Through?
Well, he's making the rounds.
Thank you, Papi. He's making the rounds. I mean,
why not?
Is it still on the screen?
Unbelievable, man. No. Disney's paying us to talk nonstop about a dude eating horse poop for $38.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching.
Sorry, I nodded off there for a moment. Check out the radio show, 10 to 1 Eastern every day.
Where'd Dan go?
I see him. He's going to get some ice cream.
He is quick, man. He got out there fast.
There he goes.
I think he might get it this time.